morning. I'm Howard, and welcome to all of you. This is great. I want to start by just thanking, I've got two Kathys here up front. Kathy Kumagai on the organ, and Kathy Makuni is going to be leading the Sutra Chanting today. And, you know, this never fails. I think it's going to be a simple thing, just come up with a couple of readings for the service. And then inevitably I come up with, there's this concept, and I can't help myself. I got to get into the weeds and find out all about it. So what I found last night, it was something called the threefold devotional heart. So, of course, wanting to find out more about it, I went to hear to see what Honen Sensei said about it. Lo and behold, I found not only what he had to say about that, but he also talked about literally getting into the weeds. So if the Sangha will please rise. And these are his words. The threefold devotional heart will be cultivated as a matter of course if one without pretension continuously practices the Nembutsu for attaining birth in the Pure Land. To illustrate, one cannot see the reflection of a full moon in a reedy pond from far away. However, if one draws close to the pond, one can see the reflection of the moon among the reeds. The moon of the threefold devotional heart reflects with certainty on the pond, even though the reeds of illusory thought grow thick. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, please be seated. Okay, now we're going to have this Sutra Chanting. It's going to be Jusei on page 39, and it will be led by Kathy Makuni.
Busetsu Daimuryo Jukyo Jusei Gagon Chosegan Hishi Mujodo Shigan Fumanzoku Sepujo Shogaku Gao Muryoko Fui Daiseshu Fusai Shobingu Sepujo Shogaku Gashi Jobutsudo Myosho Chojippo Kukyo Mishomon Sepujo Shogaku Ryoku Jinshonen Joe Shubongyo Shigu Mujodo Isho Tenninshi Jindiki Endaiko Fusho Musaido Shoujo Sankumyo Kosai Shuyakunan Kaiki Chiegen Meshi Konmo An Hesokusho Akudo Sudatsu Zenshumon Koso Jomanzo Iyoro Jippo Nichigatsu Shujuki Tenko Onfugen Ishu Kai Hozo Kose Udokubo Jo Daishu 三代を如仏無下地数脱未空所願学営力投資最小尊志願約国家大仙王感動幸福昇天人東宇神妙系何万ダブ何万ダブ何万ダブ何万ダブ何万ダブ何万ダブ願にしく読平等性一切同本菩大心往生安楽国南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏
Okay, now will the Sangha please rise for the Gatha? Today we're going to have the Texture of Life, which is on page 157. And we have Kathy on the organ with a vocal to be performed by what should we call it? The Sangha Octet. Thank you. Oh, and when the Gatha is over, if you could please remain standing for the Four Noble Truths on page 11. And now please turn to page 11, and Kathy will lead the Four Noble Truths.
Dukkha, difficulty. Dissatisfaction comes from not living in accord with the truth of impermanence and interdependence. Samudaya, arising. The delusion of self-importance expressed through greed and anger is the cause of dukkha. Nirodha, cessation. The transformation of greed, anger, and delusion is the cure for dukkha. Marga, path. Shakyamuni Buddha taught the Eightfold Path as the medicine for putting an end to dukkha. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
And now would you please be seated? You are. Now we'll have the Dharma Message from Arizona, I believe, Reverend Gibbs.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for
Thank
joining
you
me
for joining me for this service.
We're planning to use this Dharma
This
talk
Dharma talk on
June
June 10th of this year, 2023. Temple President Jeannie Toshima, my wife and I, Jeannie's
wonderful husband.
wonderful husband, we're all going to be at the Arizona Buddhist Temple Obon Festival service as you watch this.
I thank you for attending or viewing this service, and as always, I must thank Alan Goto for videography, Kathy Kumagai for helping him with the tech support. Kathy Mikuni, I believe, is going to chair this service, and others too numerous to mention. Thank you. Thanks for all your help and support. This morning, I'd like to address the importance of saying the Nembutsu aloud, and secondly, a very general human point that we're all the same and we're all different. We are each unique. And in that respect,
we are each different.
The various schools of Buddhism each have their own uniqueness, their own classic example of a paradigm of what it is to be Buddhist. And that makes them each different. Zen is different from Jodo Shinshu. Jodo Shinshu is different from Nichiren Shu. Nichiren Shu is very different from Tendai, its mother source. These 200 or so still living schools of Buddhism are all quite distinct, although they're the same too, because they lead to the same enlightenment. We've got 200 living schools of Buddhism, and they're all good. There's about 300 schools that have disappeared or morphed into our current traditions. And, you know, I haven't studied them all very carefully, but
all the 200 that are on the planet today are good. They all lead to enlightenment. They're all the same in that respect.
They're quite different in their tone, their mode of walking to the light. The way in which we walk into that light is quite different. There's only one light. I was drawn to the Buddha Dharma back in 1968. I encountered Buddhism in college, and I began a serious study of Buddhist philosophy in the fall of 1968, studies that have continued now for 55 years. Back at that time, I also started two forms of meditation, one from the Hindu yoga tradition and one from a Buddhist tradition, the Shikantaza of Soto Zen, and the simple visualization of colored light, which is kind of pan-Asian, but especially present in Hindu yoga. Those religions are very different, but they're both good. Those two forms of meditation are both good, but very different. One's easy and one's hard, but they both produce focus, calm, and clarity. I dropped Hindu ways of thinking altogether in 1974. It's a good religion.
It's a good religion.
The religious fulfillment
that Hinduism
seeks
moksha, liberation,
the same awakening
that we seek.
The ideas are very different. For instance, Hinduism in its classic form teaches that this whole world is an illusion. The play of the gods.
The play of the gods.
Buddhism teaches
that this world is real.
But we are a little bit
deluded about it. It's a very different perspective. Very different.
Religions are very
different.
They lead to the same
They
goodness.
lead to the same goodness if they are good.
Our way
of being Buddhist is an easy way. It's very easy to do.
We just say
Buddha's name on occasion in a relaxed, but rather
relaxed,
actually rather natural,
but reverent way. In these modern times,
postmodern times,
we often
in the
tradition
Pure Land
reflect on the
Nembutsu
Jodo
Aloud.
Shinshu. An emphasis came up sometime in the 20th century
of thinking of the name.
There's a number of reasons
for that. For instance,
here at the train station,
it might be
better not to say
Namanda,
I think better to hold that in your mind silently at the train station. On the other hand, at the bus stop, it might be a good idea to use it. Keep persons who are dangerous away from you. We allow these saying to take place in the depths of our heart when we hold it silently. But this is a change in our tradition that's taken place in the 20th century, and especially in America, not just America. Many of you have heard the story of Shigaraki Sensei, highly regarded teacher who passed away about 6-8 years ago. And he used to come to America. He had a number of students here, including Matsumoto, some people studied with him. He came to give talks here in the U.S. every so often. He came here about 35 years ago, and he said, gee, you know, this is a wonderful place. Seattle, and he came back, about 25 years later, and he said, gee, I went to Seattle, Pennsylvania, and I didn't hear people just naturally and randomly saying, Namo Amitabutsu. I didn't hear the Nembutsu just freely and naturally. And then he said, and then I returned home to my family temple in Hiroshima, and I noticed the same thing. So it's not just us. It's not just Americans. Hold the Buddha's name in my mind. It's also happening in Japan, and this isn't wrong or bad, but it's a change in our tradition, and we want to be careful about it. For something like 2,400 years, Nembutsu always meant voicing the Nembutsu. This is the Nembutsu, making a sound aloud, something you can hear in your own mind and in your own ears, not just in mind. Saying the name out loud was the essence of our tradition, 2,400 years or more. Now, it's all right that the mix has changed. I'd say until the 20th century, if you founded Jodo Shinshu was saying holding Nembutsu, 80% of the time it would be Namana, Buddha, and 20% of the time would be holding the name, and now those percentages are pretty much now it's about 20% of the time we say Nembutsu aloud. Kimyo, Jinjiko, Rugeko, and 80% of the time silently in your mind. It's okay that this change is taking place. It's all right. But even to reflect on the Nembutsu, you need to have some access to what it sounds like. You can't put the sound in your mind if you haven't heard it. Natural and reverence of the name, phrases like Namo Amitabutsu needs to take place. So this morning, even though I'm coming to you from cyber reality, in the midst of the Dharma talk today, I want to really say the Nembutsu together with you. For just a little while, maybe 2 minutes. And this again is in the midst of the Dharma. We'll start talking about ideas again after. But if you would join me for a couple minutes saying Nembutsu in any form you like. Kimyo, Jinjiko, Rugeko, Ashigiko, Namo Amitabutsu, the older and widely spread Namo Amitabutsu, Namo Nabutsu. Any verbal utterance that means to you, there's a promise of enlightenment coming. Again, just join me for just a couple minutes. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amitabutsu. 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 Namo Amitabutsu, Namo Amitabutsu, Namo Amitabutsu, Kimyo, Jinjiko, Kimyo, Jinjiko, Namanda, Namo Amitabutsu, Namo Amitabutsu, Namo Amitabutsu, Namo Thank you. Thank you very much for joining me in the utterance of the Nembutsu. The utterance of the Nembutsu Aloud is necessary to acclimate ourselves to the name. It doesn't make sense to tell people you should speak French naturally if you don't teach them how to speak French. So you should let the Nembutsu be in your heart and mind naturally all the time. But if you don't occasionally say it aloud, verbal form, it's not going to happen. You're not going to be on our path without occasionally saying the name aloud. Again, all schools of Buddhism lead to the same illumination, but their ways of walking the path there hundreds of different styles, hundreds of different paradigms, hundreds of different approaches. In our walking of the path, Jodo Shinshu, walking the path to enlightenment, we see the classic Buddhist move from the lack of clarity, lack of clarity about what we're doing. And then we become more and more able to clarify and have clarified for us the meaning of what we're doing. And then as we become clearer and clearer about the meaning and the significance of what we're doing, we keep doing it, perhaps saying the name, as we become clearer and clearer about what it means, at the same time, the fact that this illumination we're walking towards becomes inconceivable. We become to conceive more and more carefully about that which is inconceivable. This is the whole paradox. We come to confront profound mystery which pertains to our lives by becoming clearer about ideas through Buddhist tradition. For example, we start out not being entirely clear what phrases like Namo Amida Butsu mean. Namo Amida Butsu. There's people that go to Nichiren temples and never know what Namo Myoho Renge Kyo means. They're not listening to the music, they're not reading the books. But we start out the way I started out. I came to the right away the local Nembutsu. I didn't know exactly. I rely on Amida Buddha, the obvious meaning. Deeper meanings were not clear what it really means and implies. But after 55 years of study, it's starting to become a little clearer, I'm sure for you as well. What it means again, Namo Amida Butsu, I rely on Amida Buddha, but Amida Buddha is the woken source of limitless wisdom and endless life. So that's why I translate the Nembutsu sometimes as we rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Further acquaintance with this stream of Buddhist tradition, and we will see the deep significance, and it will make us understand the simple explanations too. The deeper we study, the deeper I look into this, the more I come to appreciate Suchi's couplet. When I call the Buddha's name, it's the Buddha calling me. A number of authors have put that in a Gatha here and there. When I call the Buddha's name, it's the Buddha calling me. Namo Amida Butsu isn't just my voice. Namo Amida Butsu is also the Buddha's voice. Namo Amida Butsu is the Buddha lowering my voice for a moment to speak to me. The significance becomes more and more clear, and the feeling that comes with it becomes more and more real. The feeling is that it's okay. Don't worry. I'll take care of it. Or perhaps we have your back. Now the Nembutsu has many ways of understanding what it means. I've suggested that the Nembutsu is a way in which nature flowers. Occasionally I talk that way. It is the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, is one way in which reality such as it truly is, perfumes our deludedness. Namo Amida Butsu is a point of contact with the realm of the sacred. Namo Amida Butsu is a touchstone by comparison with which our own opinions seem less real and less compelling. Namo Amida Butsu is the transformative presence of the Buddha's compassionate promise embodied in the name. etc.,
etc., etc., etc. The explanations are all good and genuine, and they all come back to Namo Mirabutsu, drawing us to something inconceivable, good, true, real, but beyond our genuine ability to explain in thoroughness.
We live in a realm of cross-pollination where different schools of Buddhism influence one another. Explanation of what we're doing influences our experience. When we think in depth of what the Nembutsu is, that it is the presence of the sacred, that it is the perfuming of our delusion by reality such as it truly is, then that simple explanation, when I call the Buddha's name, it's the Buddha calling me, also becomes real for us. Cross-pollination and a mutual support between explanation and experience, between theory and practice. But more simply, we say the Nembutsu. Namo Mirabutsu.
Namo Mirabutsu.
Namo Mirabutsu.
Namo Mirabutsu.
We say the Nembutsu. We sense its priceless value. We notice that it's deflating our own personal opinions, prejudices. We find the Nembutsu to disrupt our ideology. And we go on to live lives of trust, confidence, appreciation, and gratitude. Social. In closing, I can ask you to join me in the Nembutsu this time just for a few seconds. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Mirabutsu. Namo Mirabutsu. Namo Mirabutsu. Namo Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Sensei. I can say that to a screen. No, that's fine. You know, it's funny, in Sensei's remarks at the beginning, he mentioned that there are like 200 different schools of Buddhism, and they're all different, and at the same time, they're all the same. Now, for the closing remarks, I just want to offer the words of somebody who's in a different school, but I think they kind of reflect the universality. So if the Sangha would please rise. As I began studying Buddhist teachings and chanting more, it led me to take responsibility for my life and to base my choices on wisdom, courage, and compassion. Not long after I started chanting, I began to see that the power I needed to change of my life was already within me. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. You may be seated. So, opening the service with the words of Honen Shonen, closing the service with the words of Tina Turner. So, anyway, now are there any... Well, of course there were announcements. We've got the temple cleanup coming. No, let's see, that's this coming weekend?
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. And in July, the Oban Festival, Monday, the Walk and Talk, and the Tai Chi class. I wonder if anybody is like me, a terrible procrastinator. Every time I go to an Oban, I think to myself, gee, they're having so much fun. Next year, for sure, I'm going to go to that dance class. And I believe that 2 weeks from this Tuesday is the first one. So, and I just hope I won't be the only one there. But now, does anybody else have any other announcements?
Yeah.
Oh, Kathy does. Okay.
Hi. Thank you, Howard. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Alan, for producing today's show. Next week is going to be, it is Father's Day, but we're also having service here, and we're honoring our college and high school graduates. So invite everybody to come for our graduation service. And I think that was that. And this Tuesday, there's not morning classes. The second Tuesday a month, we do not have classes here at the temple. Sensei has the district ministers all get together. So, but it will resume again on Thursday. So thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Well, thanks again. Thank you, Kathy and Kathy. Thank Mitsuko for the fruit, and I believe it was still Kyoko-san for the flowers. And thank you, Alan, for all your work back there. And if you haven't already, please offer incense before you go. And thank you so much. Mm-hmm.